what I did, people, I just mixed up both numbers. That's called crazy dyslexia. I don't have dyslexia, I just became dyslexic for a second.
Frank Dello Stritto, talking about movies.
Hello, Frank, how are you?
All right, how are you?
Good, what's the movie a week from tomorrow?
Movie a week from tomorrow is the last of Frank Baum's Oz films called The Magic Cloak of Oz.
The Magic Cloak of Oz.
Yes, and it's not a long film. There's plenty of plot, and one of the plot elements is a magic coat, which confers its owner with some wishes. There's also a 683-year-old witch running around.
Only 683.
Only 683. There's near the end of the movie, the land of Oz is invaded by something called the Roly Rogues, who look like an army of Tweedledum and Tweedledees. And, of course, the usual menagerie of animals that are smarter than most of the people. So add it all up, it's a lot of plot for a movie that's not even an hour long.
And as it was the conclusion of the 4 or 5 or 6 movies, I don't know the exact number because some have been lost in time, right?
Yeah. Well, Frank Baum formed the Oz Film Company and made 3 Oz movies. But they were also, as I think I told you, they're pretty fast and loose with the copyright laws in those days. So there were other Oz movies, and I think it's tomorrow night you're showing a short 1910 film, which is the oldest surviving Oz film, but it's not the first Oz film ever made. It's just the oldest one that we have a copy of. Then L. Frank Baum formed his company, made 3 Oz films. None of them were very successful, so he kind of hung on, and then after this movie he gave up. So it's not like he completed a series. It's more or less he just had to move on. And then if you want to stick with the Oz theme, we can have a full-length silent version of The Wizard of Oz made in 1925, which L. Frank Baum had nothing to do with other than supplying the original story, because he dies in 1919, just short of 63, a few days short of his 63rd birthday.
Oh, I'll track it down. 1925 Oz, I did not know.
1925, public domain from as far as I know, and it's notable mainly for a younger and a bit slimmer Oliver Hardy playing the Tin Man. He hasn't met Stan Laurel yet. And so we'll talk about that next week. The movies you've been showing for the Oz series. So you showed the first one last week. You're showing the second one tomorrow night, as well as the 1910, which is a much shorter film. And you're showing the last of The Magic Cloak of Oz next week. They pretty much have the same cast. And for the 3rd week in a row, I'm going to say how much I admire Frank Woodward, who plays Nicodemus the Mule in a mule outfit, does the whole movie on all 4s. Does what we might consider today an obscene gesture.
Okay.
He does that in tomorrow night's film and in next week's film. So keep your eyes open for that. And again, it has Mildred Harris, whose main claim to fame is being the first Mrs. and the first ex-Mrs. Charlie Chaplin, winning one of the biggest divorce settlements in the United States up until then. She's 13 in this movie, 1914, so she meets Chaplin when she's 16. She marries him when she's 18. He divorces him, or he divorces her. I don't think anybody was happy when she's still in her teens, I think. So that's her claim to fame.
A Kardashian divorce. How nice.
Yeah, quick. And in those days, making it quick was not easy.
We've got to cut it short now, Frank. Sorry.
I'll talk to you next week, Joe.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. The views and opinions on Visual Radio are those of the host and his guests. Poor Frank, I cut him short, but not necessarily those of WinCam, staff, management, board of directors, members, viewers. Thank you, viewers at Winchester, wincam.org. Go to visual-radio.net, visualradiolive.blogspot.com. Thank you, Judy Kelman. Thank you, director Jay Gold. Good night.